Hello, everybody. We're going to get started. So I just want to thank you all for being here. I am Valerie Carter. I am a recreation therapist at the Manchester VA in New Hampshire. And we're going to be talking about the Be Calm, Be Well facilitator training. So we're going to give an overview of what that is. We are going to talk about the in-person training. Unfortunately, there are no CUs for the session today, but we will be talking a bit about CUs and accreditation for the hands-on trainings that we're going to talk about. I am joined here with Dr. Adam Ingrao, so I'm going to let him introduce himself and the two of us will be presenting.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Adam Ingrao. I'm an entomologist with Michigan Food and Farming Systems and am the National Director and co-founder of the Heroes to Hives program, who is a partner on the Be Calm, Be Well training.
So Dr. Ingrao and I have been working together for the last couple of years to develop this training for people who are interested in facilitating therapeutic beekeeping programs, focusing on mental health outcomes. We were fortunate to get a USDA grant for that. So this is just our disclosures and disclaimers on all of this. So yes, we have a grant that helped us to develop this training. Other than that, we don't have any other financial relationships with anything. And this is all just reference information. We're not trying to sponsor or endorse or recommend any specific equipment, supplies, anything like that. And any other additional information we might provide, we're not responsible for that content of offsite web pages that we might be referencing, but I don't think we have too many of those in here. So we're just going to continue on. So we're going to just give you an overview of the Hives program within the VA, the Heroes to Hives program that Dr. Ingrao runs, and how our programs have been working together. And then we're going to talk a bit about the quality improvement projects that we've done and the outcomes that we're seeing and the facilitator training that we have coming up that's going to be hands-on in a couple locations this coming summer. So oops, that's not where I'm supposed to be. There we go. Okay, so the Hives program is the Honeybee Initiative for Veterans Empowerment and Support. This is a program that I have been running at the Manchester VA since 2017. I've been working with the veterans in this program, starting off initially as a leisure education program to introduce beekeeping as a leisure activity. But we did find that there were a lot of outcomes that we were kind of surprised. I guess I really shouldn't have, as a beekeeper, should not have been surprised by this. Like the beekeeping, as much as it might surprise you, it can be a very calming activity. If you have your microphone on, please go ahead and mute it. I'm getting some feedback. So please make sure your microphone is muted. Thank you. So we've been doing that with beehives at the Manchester VA, and we started to also include some mindfulness, mind and body practices into our beekeeping to really foster that practice, engage in that, and help the veterans after they leave the program to be able to continue to practice that and bring that emotional management, the distress tolerance, and working with their challenging emotions that might come up outside of the beehives. So we've been picked up by the All Employee Innovation Program this year. So we've been accepted to that. So we'll be spreading to some more sites this coming year. Last year we were winners of Shark Tank, so we spread to the Northern California VA. And we're just really excited to be able to help other facilities that are interested in getting this program going. We also have some really great educational opportunities virtually over VA Video Connect for veterans who are not able to get to a local facility for some education and some community building.
And the Heroes to Hives program is an external program to the VA. We were established in 2015, and for the last many years has been one of the largest beekeeping education programs in the country. We are specifically designed for military families, and up until this year, we only allowed military families to participate in our course. And typically, we would see about anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 students in our course annually. To date, we've had just shy of 20,000 students that have taken our course. And the way the course is structured is it's an online course that basically has about 75 hours of instructional material, both lectures and instructional videos. So the lectures are like, an hour to 2 hours in length. The instructional videos are usually about less than 20 minutes and are in the apiary showing you how to do a specific task. We also have a small business section of the course that was developed by the Small Business Administration's Vet Biz program. And so we try to give veterans and their families a real kind of foundation of the understanding of how to manage honeybees, but also the business aspects and the resource aspects that are available to them as well. And for the last about 7 years, we have also been offering therapeutic trainings within the Heroes to Hives program, things like yoga for beekeepers and things like that. And that's kind of where Val's work and my work started to really intersect, is where we started to work in these wellness areas together. And Val, would you mind jumping to the next slide? Because I think that kind of feeds right into that. And what we basically saw, the two of us, as we were working in this space together, was we were both doing kind of these evaluations of our students, and we were getting a tremendous amount of anecdotal evidence through these evaluations of students saying that beekeeping was helping them in some way that we really weren't expecting. So things like feeling like a reduction in anxiety and depression, or a reduction in anxiety of isolation, or a sense of purpose again after military service. But we knew from the literature that there was no peer-reviewed research that has shown that there was actually a link to working with honeybees or doing therapeutic practices in an apiary and wellness outcomes that were established through research. But we knew from the literature that animal therapy is a very well-established intervention. And so this is kind of the same thought, is, are we seeing similar things with bees that we might see with like equine therapy? And so we sought a collaboration to establish beekeeping as an evidence-based therapy. And this is the result of our work, our collaborative work. So you can scan this QR code to read this full article, but this is an article that we published in 2024. It is the first article to establish beekeeping and therapeutic beekeeping specifically, these mindfulness practices that are incorporated into a beekeeping setting, as actually having positive wellness outcomes that are statistically significant. And I'll let Val kind of jump into the nuts and bolts of that research.
So that information, I jumped around slides, sorry about that. So what we published was in the Therapeutic Recreation Journal, and the data that we shared and published in there was from a quality improvement project that I conducted with our research department at the Manchester VA, working with the veterans who were part of the Hives program there. So we were doing pre and post surveys when the veterans arrived at the facility, before we got into the beehives, and then after the intervention in the beehives. And the goals were to help improve skills for beekeeping, improve quality of life, increase self-esteem, connect with the communities of beekeepers. And so we used the EQ5D5L, which is a standardized assessment measuring 5 health dimensions. So measuring mobility, self-care, usual activities, pain and discomfort, and anxiety and depression. And it basically asks, where are you right now in this moment on these 5 scales? And then there's a 6th scale that is a rate your health in this moment on a scale of 0 to 100. It's called a visual analog scale. And what we found was, these are what we found, and our changes from pre-session to post-session. So in that hour and a half to 2 hours while we were in the hives, that there was a change in some of these metrics. One that we found, the first one we found, was about mobility. And we found that there was a decrease in mobility. The veterans, after leaving the apiary, were reporting significant changes in their mobility. So this, as a rec therapist, I was like, well, this is a problem. We don't want, like, as anyone working with a group of people, we don't want to be causing more problems. So this made us make sure that we are teaching and using best body mechanics when we are working with our beehives, that we are having adaptive equipment available. I worked with some of the rehab engineers out of Virginia and some of the staff from Agribility we now have a hive lifter that we can build very easily and help veterans to get and to use. So we just want to be aware of that this is a physical activity that can cause pain, can cause difficulty with movement afterwards if we're not aware of those things. We also found, in a positive way, positive changes in anxiety and depression scale. So the question was, rate your anxiety and depression right now. And there were positive changes in the levels of anxiety and depression the veterans were experiencing. We also found that those veterans who had not attended a bee school or a beekeeping education prior to coming to the beehives had higher levels of anxiety than those who had engaged in some sort of education. So we really also focused on improving our education opportunities for those veterans before they get to the beehives. But at the same time, they still had benefits from engaging with the bees in the colonies and being part of a group of people taking care of bees. And then the last one was in this visual analog scale. That was that rating of 0 to 100 on how your overall health is. So the veterans who were participating found that they were reporting a change in how they perceived their health in that moment. So just being with the bees for a couple hours seemed to impact how they felt their overall health was after leaving the apiary. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, Val. And so that's what we found in the research. And so out of this, we've developed these practices that we're going to be kind of talking with you about today for the rest of this, and how you can get access to that training. The practices that were developed were co-developed with the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Heroes to Hives and Michigan Food and Farming Systems, the University of New Hampshire, and Beewise Farms. And the practices that we've developed are really rooted in connection with the natural world. My partner, her name is Lacey, who is the co-founder of Heroes to Hives, is a transpersonal psychologist and specializes in nature-based therapies. And so a lot of what we work in is that idea of wellness through connection to the natural world. And so things like the cycles of nature and stewardship of the land, gratitude for the things that we are given by the land, this interconnection between beings and the world beyond ourselves. So really trying to get outside of ourselves and understand the broader world around us and our incorporation and interconnectedness with that world. And this goes kind of deeper to working beyond the limits of personal identity, really to engage with our bees in a deeper way. So getting outside of the ego, really dropping into this natural connection with these organisms. This really allows for this incredible opportunity to practice a lot of really incredible mindfulness practices. Things like service and generosity. So really giving your time and being generous with an organism is something that especially with service members, and I'm an Army veteran myself, something with service members, we seek to serve. And so when we leave the military and we lose that ability to serve a purpose larger than ourselves, oftentimes that's something that we struggle with. So this idea of working with honeybees, it speaks to that service. And it may sound a little odd, but when we think about it a little deeper, veterans serve our to protect our national security when they're in uniform. When they leave the military, beekeeping offers them the opportunity to serve their nation again by protecting the most important managed pollinator on the planet. This pollinator is responsible for the vast majority of the foods that we eat that are specialty crops. Without them, we would not have many of the foods that we rely upon for our food system. So they really are becoming protectors of our food security. So it offers them a pathway to continued service. This opportunity to offer gratitude and be connected through gratitude with another organism who has a distinct impact on our lives. Refining our awareness, so being able to really refine that awareness of individuals. I can't tell you how many students that I've had that had no connection with nature whatsoever, but after they get engaged with bees, now they're thinking about bloom times, they're wondering about what their neighbor's spraying on their lawn. Their idea and perception, this awareness is completely redefined when it comes to the natural world. And so they're paying attention to their ecosystems and becoming part of that ecosystem, which speaks to the reduction in isolation. Cultivating wisdom, offering wisdom to these individuals in the form of beekeeping knowledge is something that's really important, because I don't know about you, but if you're a beekeeper, every single time somebody finds out you're a beekeeper, it's like a million questions are coming at you, and it really makes you feel valuable. It allows you to share that wisdom, and that's a really big tool that we can give veterans when they reintegrate, is this ability to be able to teach again. Most of us who served in the military, a lot of us were instructors at one point or another. And so it gives us that ability to drop back in. Redirecting motivation, so really getting back to being motivated about something positive. And then also managing emotions, being able to drop in with these organisms and deal with tough things. We'll talk about some of the practices like telling the bees and speaking to bees and speaking your issues to bees. These are ways that we can help manage those emotions and improve overall mental health. All right, so these are the practices that we have developed, and I'm not going to go through them in depth because this session is really just to kind of make you aware of the things. We've got all of these things laid out in instructional videos and things like that for you that we'll be talking about at the end here. But the practices that we have are focused on breathing and grounding, guided imagery, sensory exploration, yoga for beekeepers, creating and crossing a threshold, bee bathing, which is a lot like forest bathing, if you're familiar with that practice, communing with bees, which is literally talking to bees, active meditation while working bees, and steps of gratitude.
So our upcoming hands-on training is when we're going to be teaching how to facilitate and give you the opportunity to experience all of these practices. This is what the hands-on training is going to be providing that facilitation experience, education in. So we've developed this therapeutic beekeeping training. It is 2 days of training. It's a professional development training. There are prerequisites to the hands-on training. The prerequisites are available on TMS if you're a VA staff, or if you're outside of the VA, they're available on VHA TRAIN. And there are 3 trainings. They're actually about 1 hour each. So in order to be eligible for the hands-on training, you do need to complete all 3 of those courses. And we're going to go over what those 3 courses are. We have them listed on another slide coming up. But the reason is because we want you to have some background about what it is, what it takes to facilitate a program, what it is like to make sure that that is fully accessible to veterans with physical disabilities, but who are also bringing mental health disabilities and diagnoses and symptoms to the beekeeping program, so that we're able to make this a program that can really be beneficial to everyone. And so that's a really important thing for us, and something we're also going to cover in the training. So there is an additional 4-hour training, I think, maybe 5-hour training on TMS and VHA TRAIN about how to facilitate the practices on the previous slide. So if you are not able to make it to the hands-on training, that is accessible to you as well, and you can do the training that way. This coming year, we are going to be having 2 two-day trainings. They are tentatively set for Manchester, New Hampshire on June 25 to 26. That one is still tentative. We're waiting for like the approvals through the VA. That training will have accreditation and CEUs for a variety of different disciplines, including social work, psychology, occupational therapy. We are working on the recreation therapy CEU approval as well. We just submitted that. That has to go separately through NCTRC. as opposed to through the VA. Accreditation process is different for those. So we're working on that. And then the Michigan training is not going to be through funneled through the VA for accreditation. So the only CU accreditation for that one will actually be for recreation therapists. The other disciplines we're not able to do that for that one. So I just want to put that out there so we're very transparent about where things are at. The Michigan training, we are confirmed for those dates, Adam?
We are a go on those dates for Michigan.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. So those will be the dates that will be in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Can you give us the location exactly?
Yeah, and we have that on a later slide too, Val. The location for the Michigan training is going to be at Bay Mills Community College, which is in Brimley, Michigan, which is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where I live. So that's where that's going to be located, and that's a tribal land grant institution, and they also have an on-site hotel as well that we will have people be able to stay at. So
I apologize
stay on
for
the
jumping
shores
ahead.
of Lake Superior for that training.
It's a beautiful area. Okay, so if you're interested in doing this, you do need to do those prerequisites. These trainings, we do not have the registrations ready yet for them because we're still finalizing the details for that. But to go ahead and do the prerequisites, this is what you're going to do to get into TMS if you are a VA staff. So you'll get into your TMS, you'll log in with whatever way you log in. I use my PIV card and type in my code. And then you're going to go to View My Learning when it opens up your main screen. And then you're going to scroll down to the bottom where you have that search bar where it says Find Learning, and you're going to type in Be Calm, Be Well. And this will pull up all of the Be Calm, Be Well trainings. So you'll be able to see that these three down here are the three prerequisites. So it's the Be Calm, Be Well series program management, Be Calm, Be Well series available for all veterans, and then Be Calm, Be Well, what's involved in a beekeeping program. Those are the three enduring webinar series. Those are the three prerequisites. If you are not planning on coming to the hands-on training and you want to do the longer facilitator training, that's this top one that's also available on TMS. I see that there is a hand up. Leon,
Hi.
do you want? Hi.
Okay, I'm in TMS right now looking for that.
Yep.
Under the keyword
Yep.
search, and I am only seeing this facilitator training. Is there something else? Should I change the assignment type, or?
You want not assigned, unassigned. So you're going to look for the unassigned ones.
Okay, so
you might be looking in your assigned.
Actually, if I could share, if you don't mind. Well, I don't want to interrupt the training.
How about if you send me a message on Teams and I will help you find that after the training. We can figure it out.
All righty.
Yeah, okay. And if anybody else has any issues, let me know. We'll, this is how I did it when I went in. I typed in Be Calm, Be Well, and this is what popped up for me. So now I'm questioning that. So Leon, I'll help you figure that out. We'll get it worked out. And if anybody else has trouble, let me know, and we'll figure it out. You can also search by the code of the biz code here. You can search by that, or the VA code, VA 131017752, 7753, and 7750 are the codes you can search by as well. But I'll help you with that. All right. If you are not so TMS is only internal to the VA. So if you're external to the VA, Adam's going to tell you how to manage this one.
Okay, so all of you that don't work for the VA, this is going to be how you're going to access these trainings. So you're going to go to train.org/VHA, And that's going to bring you to the VHA Train website, which is the external way learning platform externally for VA professional development and training programs. If you do not have a VHA Train account, you're going to create an account by clicking that button right there. And once you create an account, you're going to log into the system, and you're going to see this page right here. That's the screenshot. You're going to hit the courses tab where the red arrow is at, and what that's going to bring up is it's going to bring up a search bar, and you're going to search Be Calm, Be Well. And when you search that, you're going to see there should be 5 trainings that are going to come up. One of them is this training. The 3 other ones are the ones that Val just mentioned, and then the 5-hour full facilitator online training will also be available to you through this as well. And these are the titles that Val was talking about. So those of you within the VA or outside of the VA in VHA Train, these are the titles of those 3 prerequisites that Val was talking about. What's involved in a beekeeping program, about an hour. Program management, it's about an hour, and available to all veterans, also about an hour. And like I said, these are the same course titles that are found in TMS. And like I mentioned, the last piece of that is that once you complete those prerequisites, if you are unable to do one of these on-ground trainings, you have the ability to do the full training. It's a full 5-hour online training that we recorded last year, where you can still complete this facilitator training in an online fashion. And so that's the 5-hour course that you see on there as well.
All right, so these again are the details about the specifics about the professional development training. Like I said, the training in Manchester is still tentative. We're still doing the paperwork to get it approved through all the layers of VA approvals, but I'm anticipating that it will get approved smoothly. But should that change, we'll let you know. We'll keep everybody updated through the same channels where you found this information. So that 2-day training is also going to be in Brimley, Michigan, like Dr. Ingrayo said, up at Bay Mills Community College. And during that training, there's going to be 2 parts to each of those trainings. So part of that training is going to be a couple hours doing and learning how to do hive inspections, how to use adaptive equipment, how to make sure that we're doing things safely within the hives, and introducing those of you who are not beekeepers, who are clinicians, who are interested in facilitating or co-facilitating a therapeutic beekeeping program, getting you some awareness, some knowledge, and hands-on experience working with bees. Because that's a really important thing to know, even if you're not the one who's going to be really responsible for keeping the bees alive, and you're going to be more of the clinical facilitator of the program. You're going to partner with somebody. Really having that experience is going to help you to understand how to do that. So each day we're going to, hopefully, as long as the weather cooperates, we will be in the beehives. If the weather isn't cooperate, we have alternative options of what we're going to be doing with observation hives, with equipment and tools and those kinds of things. And that will be at both of the locations. And then we will be practicing those mindfulness and mind and body practices, getting that experience both outside of the hives and doing like what you would do before getting into a program, or being able to do something similar to what we're showing in this picture, where we're doing some meditation and mindful awareness at the beehives. Anything else you want to go over about the training and the hands-on training?
No, I think you covered it really well. It's going to be a full hands-on experience either place you go to. So it's and we have done this before at our farm, a training that was before we started working on this particular program. That's where this picture is from. And I will tell you that these are really something you want to come in with a very grounded attitude towards. We'll do a lot of practices and things like that, but this is really something meant to really connect you with bees, and it is something that a lot of people take away a very special experience from, even facilitators.
And we will be providing all of the safety equipment. I know in this picture there are people wearing short sleeves and no limited protective equipment. We will have all options, and at the VA we will be wearing full long sleeves and gloves because that's a requirement of our program. So we will be having all of that available. You do not have to bring or any of that equipment or bring any experience with bees to this. And if you are a beekeeping educator or somebody that is a beekeeper who's looking to bring this to a organization that you're working with, then know that we are also going to be teaching like how to facilitate these types of mind and body practices. So this is for both the beekeeping educators, the beekeepers who want to bring this to an organization, as well as the staff and VA staff and clinicians. So it's going to be touching on both sides of it. We do also want to make sure that for those of us who are not trained in suicide prevention, mental health first aid, that we really strongly recommend and really want you to have completed by the time if you are going to be implementing one of these programs, either a suicide prevention and screening training or a mental health first aid, because this is something we are expecting veterans who have some difficulties with mental health to participate in this program, because that is what we're focusing on. And we want to make sure that you are equipped with the knowledge of what to do should somebody tell you or should you suspect that somebody is having thoughts of suicide or thoughts of harming themselves or thoughts of harming others, and to not be overwhelmed by it. It can be very overwhelming, but to be prepared. If that comes up, what do you do? And so these trainings are listed in terms, this is how you would access these if you are a non-VA staff. We didn't include the VA training because we're required to do these trainings as VA staff as part of our annual TMS trainings. So know that these are available to you and that we really would like you to complete them as well if you haven't. Okay. Oh, did I just go too far? Nope. Okay, sorry.
No, you had it. In addition to those resources, and I would underscore what Val has said, having worked with veterans for the last 15 years, it is really important to have those skills. And I'm a beekeeping educator. I would fall under that category. And I have had this come up several times in the 15 years that I've been working with veterans and bees. So if you are a beekeeping educator thinking that I don't work in a clinical setting, if you're working with service members, you need to have this training. So it's really important to have that training. But we also have additional support for you as well. And this goes for both individuals who are clinical or individuals who are beekeeping educators. It is really important that you know a little something about bees too. So if you're a beekeeping educator, we hope that you know bees very well. But if you are not, and even if you are, we have a resource available to you. So the Heroes to Hives program that I had mentioned earlier, this year we've undergone a major revamp. We are opening up our entire education program to the public. And so now, starting April 1st, right now we're loading all of the videos from the course into our YouTube channel, but starting on April 1st, you will be able to take the entire Heroes to Hives course, all 75 plus hours of material will be available for you to go through on our YouTube channel. And so you can access those free. They're just, you just go to YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel and have those notifications come as we're loading content on there. That is a course that I teach like a college level beekeeping course. So what you get out of it will basically be the fundamentals of biology, the fundamentals of management, pest management, and pathogen management, as well as seasonal management, in addition to all the veteran resources as well. We also have the Be Calm, Be Well practices in that same YouTube channel. If you go to our channel, there's a courses tab that you can click, and there'll be 2 courses in there. One of them is the full Heroes to Hives program. The second one is a short course that we developed specifically for clinical staff who maybe are not going to be the ones who are going to be taking care of bees all the time, but they want to know something a little bit about bees. So we basically created a 20 lecture truncated course for clinical staff that also has the Be Calm, Be Well practices in it as well. And the prereqs are also on that channel as well. So if you do go there and go under courses and and click on the Be Calm, Be Well, you'll be able to see all of the actual practices. You'll be able to take that beekeeping short course and the prerequisites all right there as well. So another opportunity and something to support you as you get into this, especially if you're new to beekeeping and are looking to support veterans through a beekeeping program.
And actually, all of that short course and the Be Calm, Be Well video practices are also available on TMS for those of us who are VA staff. We are also uploaded them there. So these are accessible in multiple places because we want you to have access to them. We're not trying to like keep these for ourselves. We're like, we want you to be educated and informed and be good facilitators of beekeeping, therapeutic beekeeping programs. So one thing I didn't mention is that there will only be 20 participants in each of those trainings. So we only have space for 20 participants. And that is because in order to facilitate a training with bees and to be able to provide a good quality training, we want to limit it to 20 people per training. So there will be application registration process. And so those prerequisites are what are going to be included in that. And then once we have our application process, we will let you know when those are set. We're just waiting for confirmation of that our dates and our location are confirmed. So know that will be coming. We were hoping to have it ready for today. It didn't get approved yet. It's not signed off on yet. So we're still in a little bit of a holding pattern on that. But just a quick kind of summary of everything. And then we wanted to make sure we had plenty of times for question and answers. And I see there are some in the chat. So the therapeutic beekeeping practices, like we said, can really positively impact veterans' mental health. And so this Be Calm, Be Well facilitator training offers you that experience to get trained in these, and they're based on evidence-based practices. You have access to them through TMS and Train, and then we're going to have those hands-on trainings coming up this year. So if you are within the VA and you have questions or you have trouble with getting registered for anything, or you want to make sure that I send you a direct email with when our registration process is approved and when those dates are 100% confirmed, please shoot me an email, send me a Teams message. I've got a list of people that I'm keeping track of, and I will definitely get that information out to you. If you're outside of the VA, you can do the same and reach out to Adam and get on his list. We're kind of just managing it internal and external, even though we're going to have at both of these trainings, they're going to be a mixed combination of people. It's not, if you're internal, you go to Manchester. If you're external, you go to Michigan. You can go to either.